Hello, everybody. This is Charles Rather. Again, I'm the managing partner at AmLaw Group, based here in South Florida, where we are your boutique law firm for dealing with business-related and investment-related immigration to the U.S. Feel free to sign up or subscribe to our channel, where you can get weekly updates on these topics and more related to your transition to the U.S. So one question people often ask is, how do I get a business visa to the U.S.? Now, here we're not talking about a business visa like a B1, B2, which is a typical tourist visa, and is also a type of visa given for people coming to the U.S. for business purposes. So it's technically a dual type of visa, B1, B2, but that's just basically kind of your straightforward, tourist visa. Whether you're coming here for a conference or coming here to vacation for a week, they give you that B1, B2 visa, and when you enter the U.S., you tell the officer what your purpose is for coming, work or pleasure, and then they will make a notation in the system whether it's a B1 or a B2 based on what you tell them. But the visa is the same. But we're not talking about that type of visa today. We're talking about other business visas that would allow you to get to the U.S. based on some kind of business. So there's a lot of different ways, and why don't I start with the easiest and fastest routes, and then we'll go up from there, looking at other options that are maybe more difficult, more challenging, or take more time. So I would say first step for somebody looking for a business visa in the US, look at an E2 or an E1. E2 or E1s are only available to people from certain countries. I would say roughly maybe 100 countries have a corresponding E1 or E2 treaty with the US. So you need to check out whether your country is one of those. And you can do that by just typing in E1 or E2 treaty countries in Google, and you should get the State Department's website where they have a list of all those countries. The difference between them is that E2 is you have to invest money in the US, in a business in the US, and so they're looking more at investments and the ability of that investment to generate a return to support you while you live here. E1, very similar, but it's more for people that are just trading with the US. So you have to show that the majority, more than 50% of your trade, is between your home country and the US. I don't know the general statistics, whether overall there are more E2 visas than E1s, but from our personal practice, that is the case. Our personal practice, we have probably 98, 99 E2 visas for every one E1 visa we have. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe that's how we position ourselves and our niche in the market. But again, E1 visa is possible. If you don't necessarily have to invest money in a business in the US, you can just show that the majority of your trade, sales and production from your overseas business, whether it's in Europe, Canada, wherever, that the majority of your sales involve the US, and for that reason, you're filing for this E1 that would allow you ostensibly to come to the US, maybe open up a branch here, or maybe just be able to come here to manage your sales that are coming from your home business overseas. So that's the E1, E2 category. Easiest, generally fastest, generally the least expensive. Next one I would say for business visas are L1s. L1s are similar to E2 and E1, but the L1 is actually quite a bit more difficult, and the likelihood of denials is quite a bit higher. The vast majority of our L1 clients still get approvals. I'd say, maybe 85%, 90%, but the requirements are a bit higher. You've got to show that you were a qualified manager or executive overseas, roughly meaning you manage maybe 10 people or more overseas, and you're coming to the US to manage the company here. So I would say an L1 is more for executives or managers, or specialists. If you have a very specialized background, specialized skills, L1Bs sometimes are an option. But I would say the vast majority of our clients are L1A, which is for, as I mentioned, executives or managers. The problem with the L1, or maybe the challenge I should say, is you've got to show that you had a qualifying position overseas before you came. And then when you come to the US, you have to show that you qualify as well, meaning you're going to have to show that within the first year of new operations in the US, you're going to have an adequate number of subordinates and employees who are going to be doing the work, and you're going to primarily be a manager or executive in the US. So if you've got a really small business that doesn't have a big structure of employees, and you've got yourself here and then mid-level managers and then employees down here, if your business doesn't support that type of employment structure, L1 is probably going to be a bit difficult. The good side of the L1 is it's open to everybody. There are no limits based on your country of origin. And so in that regards, L1 can be a bit easier. Another business-related visa is, I would probably say O1. So O1 is traditionally for talented individuals, people that, artists, musicians, athletes, who else? But it also could be for business people. So, and increasingly, startup entrepreneurs, IT, startup owners are increasingly using O1s to get to the U.S. because it's relatively easy to get. You get it for 3 years, which is a good bonus compared to other non-immigrant visas. And there aren't the requirements like with an O1 to show how many employees you'll have once you come here. You don't have to show how many employees you had overseas. You just have to show that you are very skilled specialist, expert in your area of expertise, and that you meet the requirements. Check out some of our other videos where we talk about the O1 requirements, but you have to satisfy 3 requirements in the list. And this could be requirements such as showing high salary, press articles about you, your contribution to the field, existence of any national or international awards. So based on the particular background of a client, an O1 could also work for somebody looking to launch a new business in the US, or maybe looking to come to work here for a company. So in a nutshell, those are the main non-immigrant business-related visas. Again, processing times, I would say for all of the ones we discussed today, probably you're looking at 2 to 3 months to get everything ready. Could be longer, depending on how long the client gets everything ready. So 2 to 3 months to get everything prepared. Then you have to file it with USCIS. With all the options today, there is the premium processing that's available. So theoretically, you could get a response in 15 days, and then you have to sign up for the interview at the embassy if you're looking to get it done overseas. How long that interview takes and when you can sign up, that really depends on each country. So it could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months or even longer. So that is constantly changing. So in short, these are the most accessible, quick ways to get a business visa in the US based on a business you're planning to buy or open. And if you're looking at some other options, of course, there are other immigrant options that give a green card. We have other videos on that, or even better yet, you're welcome to sign up. Reach out to us here through any of our links in our YouTube channel to set up a consultation and discuss the best option for you going forward.